Patch 1.8 is nearly here, and it is allegedly the biggest content patch in the history of the Division. A completely revamped underground with hunters and checkpoints, a new area of the map opening up with its own PvE activities, new weapons, new classified gear sets, the long-awaited 4v4 skirmish PvP mode, and the next round of global events warming up on the starting line. The mother load of free content is arriving any moment, like cunting Christmas is coming early. What could possibly go wrong? Get Redstorm to introduce 2 God Mode classified sets that completely break PvP. Invite the whole community team to a piss up in Sweden during the last 2 weeks of the PTS. Hire a fucking druid priest to design the new exotic guns. Fuck up weaponry balancing. Destroy the fucking Dark Zone. Leave all the exploits unfixed. Scrap PTS 3 for console. Leave all the bugs unfixed. Forget to do any patch notes. Abandon the fucking PTS at the most crucial moment, enrage most of the player community, then come back and just say, oops, we were busy doing other, more important stuff. Yeah, I reckon that would do it. That would definitely fucking do it. Fuck! Patch 1.8 YOLO is shaping up to be exactly what we've come to expect by now. Like our mum, baking us the best birthday cake in the world, but whilst it's cooking in the oven, she drinks too much wine, fucks the neighbour on the kitchen table, and by the time it comes to eating it, she's so fucking trashed, she accidentally slam dunks it on the table and thinks it's funny. Okay, maybe your mum isn't like that, but you see my fucking point. So much expectation and good intentions, fucking wrecked at the point of delivery. So yeah, it's shaping up to be just another typical patch for the Division. I get the impression, and I'm certainly going to assume, that Petter keeps getting handed a big bag of fuck all, and then he's being pushed out in front of the firing squad with very little useful shit to say. I'll say right now, I don't get off on seal clubbing state of the game with poor little unprepared Petter at the helm. In fact, some of the time Petter seems like a little lamb staked up on the side of a fucking hillside, used as bait for a mountain lion. However, one of the reasons Petter is getting so much face time on state of the game is precisely because it's a deliberate ploy to try and diffuse criticism by putting someone more sympathetic and vulnerable in front of the camera to bring us the bad news. Or to bring us no news at all. I'm sorry, but I'm only interested in the fucking facts and the stuff I make up, and I'm not aborting my fucking mission because the community team have started using human shields. They can tie as many innocent civilians to the outside of the bunker as they like, but I'm still going to complete my mission and drop my bombs on fucking target. So respectfully, Petter, don't blame me, because I blame the person who pushed you out in front of the fucking camera with nothing sensible to say during one of the biggest fiascos in the history of the Division. And there's some pretty stiff fucking competition.
Hello everyone, welcome to State of the Game for the 26th of October 2017. As you can see, I'm in the... We kind of had to sadly cancel State of the Game last week. Hamish was off at TwitchCon, we had some technical issues that we sadly were unable to fix, and yes, this week I'm set up here because of the same reasons. But we managed to make this work, at least. So we're back with State of the Game as basically always. I just want to say that I'm really sorry for the absence over the last, we've had a ton of stuff to do. We've been completely locked down by other things. Various forms of workshop and stuff. So we've been silent on Twitter. Not done our Let's Plays. We had issues with the patch notes for PTS 3 as well because of those reasons. And I'm really, really sorry that we've been gone. And I'm just going to briefly bring in 3 people. Some of you might know them. Oh, there he is. There he is. There he is.
Hello, everybody. How's it going, everybody?
Yeah, we are back. Hey, chat. Hey, chat. Hey, guys. Yannick, nod your head if they're keeping you in a dungeon and torturing you.
I'll make you wear a little dress and hurt you.
We brought them all to Sweden to lock them up in small rooms and have all kinds of fun and cool discussions. That's kind of why we've been absent. There you go. There you have it. This was 10 seconds of news. Bye-bye. That's great. It's actually really good. Thank you guys for sticking with us. I'm sorry that we have been kind of absent. And everything will be back to our normal schedule next week. The public test server is closing down on Tuesday, the 31st. PTS 3 sadly won't make it to consoles because there's simply no time with all the... I know that we have been accused over the last 2 weeks of being secretive and silent. I'm really sorry for the absence. It's not meant to be secretive. It's just been a matter of crazy stuff. 2.0 has been a big discussion in the community over the last couple of weeks. 2.0 is happening, and it will pretty much stay the same when it goes live as it's done on the PTS so far. We're of course looking at ways to tweak it in the future if we need it. And we're also looking at the time to kill in PvP. Some people feel that with the stamina changes that was put in place for update 1.8, they made the time to kill in PvP too high. So we're looking at tweaking the PvP damage modifiers a bit. Classified strikers is also one of those things that have been a hot topic. Classified strikers is going to stay the same once it hits the live servers. Together with Nomad, they are both staying the way they are. One thing that's been really strong in PvP, though, is Predator's Mark. We know that in certain situations it can be really, really powerful in PvP. We're happy where it is in PvE right now. No major changes is going to happen to Predmark the way it looks right now, and the same kind of goes for the shield. There's a couple of things more. Again, with this secretive behavior, or we're not addressing the issues. We are listening to you guys, and we're reading the global event tokens for Amherst, Clear Skies, and Lexington. They will be the same amount of tokens you got during Assault and Outbreak for those missions. It's going to be the same come the next global event. I can also say that some people have been asking me if the global event 3, which should be Strike, if that's coming in 1.8 or before that, and it's coming in 1.8. There's also been a couple of questions about the masks for the upcoming one. A couple of the accommodations during the global events are tied to DLC. The masks and patches will not be connected with those accommodations. So even though if you don't have the DLCs, you will still be able to get the masks. I went for 6 minutes there. That's kind of all I had right now. We'll keep up the dialogue with you as much as we can. Again, I'm really sorry that we've been silent over the last 1.5, 2 weeks. But yeah, next week we're going to get back into our regular schedule. Yeah, but that kind of wraps that up. Wow. Chat is moving really fast. Oh dear. Alright, so for the patch notes of PTS3 is one of those things that sadly things got in the way. A lot of stuff got in the way. Chat, move so fast. Oh my god, I can't do this. I'm gonna take 1 or 2 questions more, and then we're gonna see. Oh my god. Wow. Oh dear. Okay, I can't do this. I can't actually see anything. I'm just gonna click stop streaming, so when I just disappear, I'm sorry if that feels rude, but that's not my intention.
Chopin was a bit of a morbid cunt, but he could certainly bang out a cracking tune. Let's not sugarcoat this. Patch 1.8 is perhaps the final patch for the division. It's huge and potentially awesome. Then, during the last phase of testing, during a barrage of complaints, controversy, bugs and exploits, the community team shuts up shop, cancels state of the game and fucks off to Sweden for a round of workshops and stuff without telling a fucking soul what's going on. Nobody deals with the cunting feedback. No action is being taken about PTS3. No fucking patch notes were even written for PTS3. PTS3 for consoles gets cancelled. Nobody knows what the fuck they're supposed to be testing and what the fuck is actually going on. Now it appears that pretty much there was no point doing PTS3 at all, because they're just rolling 1.8 out as it stands without most of the shit being dealt with, and we don't even get a fucking explanation worthy of a grown-up. So why did we get no patch notes for PTS3? Why did all the community team fucking vanish for 2 weeks at the end of PTS? Why are no fucking substantive changes being made to patch 1.8 before release? Why was the end of the PTS a fucking fiasco where all the player feedback was summarily fucking ignored? Well, sometimes the small tells speak volumes. Stuff, we keep getting told, got in the way. Well, if we analyse that statement, 2 things read loud as a cunting bell. 1. The division is no longer the #1 priority of the community team. And 2. The stuff they're working on, which now takes priority over the Division 1.8 PTS, isn't being disclosed to the community for some reason. I'm sorry, but the entire fucking community team just went AWOL during the end of what is probably the last and most important PTS, because you had more important stuff to do. Stuff no fucker will explain. Well, that is, I'm afraid to say, fucking abysmal community management. Dare I say it, community fucking mismanagement. We got let down. I don't say that for fucking effect. The community team let us the fuck down at the most critical time, and apparently the only explanation we deserve is they were busy doing stuff. Fucking stuff. That's the kind of shit a teenager would say to his mum when he was too busy wanking to do his chores. Sorry, I didn't finish cleaning my room, I was busy doing stuff. For all I know, the community team was in Malmo discussing Year 3 content, or working out how to give all Division players free suck jobs and pizza. I would love to give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that the stuff they were doing was all about making the Division awesome and giving us free shit. But throw us a cunting bone here. Until they tell us what they were doing, in the eyes of the community, they were just fucking AWOL. And to be honest, I have my doubts they were directly working on the Division, because they would have just fucking said so if they were. I did think there was a certain poetic justice that Twitch chat exploded. I guess that's what happens if you vanish for 2 weeks during the last phase of the last PTS for potentially the last patch of a AAA title. The questions from the community were literally flying past so fast Petter couldn't read them. The moral of the story is 1. Don't fucking vanish during a PTS, and 2. You can stop chat and scroll through it manually, Petter. Just FYI. Well, let's not dwell on the fucking melancholic. So how about I cheer things up with my little gift to you guys? A bonus state of the fucking game from the 2nd of November. Keith and Terry are the guests on this episode, and I can always rely on them to cheer me up. Frankly, most of the time, they have me in fucking stitches. And not in a good way.
Hello everyone, welcome to State of the Game for November 2nd, 2017. And I promise you it is going to be longer than 2 minutes. It's going to be 3 minutes. We don't have that super much news to talk about today. Yes, there will be support for Xbox One X. I'm gonna jump straight in. Who are you guys? Why are you here?
I'm Keith. And I'm Terry.
The public test server closed this week. How do you guys think things went?
Well, I don't know.
What is the actual public test server?
Kind of a pretty intense process. So we're playing the game ourselves pretty much throughout the entire thing. We're watching a ton of streams. We're listening to feedback on, Twitter and Reddit and the forums. And we also have a lot of analytic data getting tracked in the background. So it's kind of just taking all that in, crunching it down, and making the changes that we believe in.
But there's been a couple of hot topics debated in the community, to say the least. One of the big discussions have been surrounding certain gear sets, like for example, Predator's Mark and Nomad.
Keith, what do you think? I think they're very powerful, honestly, yeah. But I think they're intentionally very powerful. Part of it comes from those sets are powerful because they bring a very specific utility to players. Yes. Like with the Predator's Classified set, almost all your power is in that bleed, right? It has to be strong to make it useful in PvE and to make it a good valid tactic in PvP, to make it powerful, make people force the medkit and, actually create that back and forth dynamic.
Yeah, it's when it's powerful.
Oh yeah, that with shrapnel and getting in there and just seeing them spread everywhere. It's awesome.
Yeah, so I kind of see it, we realize that they are strong. They're very strong, but that's the point.
Yeah, absolutely. The fact that these sets, change the dynamics of a fight is going to keep things like Skirmish and Last Stand in the Dark Zone interesting for a long time, because each match you come in,
you are
very open.
Very open is a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was.
So one other set, including a skill that's seen quite a lot of discussion over the last couple of weeks, is defense and the Ballistic Shield. Where do you see the shield right now? Where will it be in update 1.8?
Right. I was generally unhappy with how it was playing. Right. Yeah. I don't want to. The shield was really invalidating a lot of our content. You know, I know you can bring up build examples, but it was doing a lot to ruin people's PvP experience. And it was also...
Yeah, and validating the hard content that's meant to, you know, test not only your build, but also your gamer ability, right?
Yeah. And so
I'm super excited. It's usable with other sets, but it's not going to be this super tanky shield where you have crazy high DPS or you're using the shield with tactician builds in crazy ways. But for people who want that shield fantasy, I think the defense set is better than it's ever been.
So that's why we made changes.
Yep.
Right. So let's talk about the big discussion in the community. Chat is talking a lot about it now.
Westside
Piers, yeah. Let's talk about Rogue 2.0.
Yeah,
Because that's been the big topic of discussion. How have you been working with Rogue 2.0 over the course of the PTS, and where is it now, and how does things look?
Yeah. A common narrative that I've seen as we've monitored social media and all the other outlets that we have, that we're not listening to, you know, feedback on Rogue 2.0. And I mean, quite frankly, it's quite the opposite.
We really believe in it. We want to see it in the live game. We want to see what it's like. It's something we really believe in, and we want to put it out there. We're feeling confident.
And we did hear all the feedback, and we
Absolutely.
appreciate it, right? That's just a tremendous amount of passion around it. But thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
Right. Sorry. We're super excited. How are you guys feeling about update 1.8 in general right now?
I tell you what, man, like, I can't believe all that stuff that's going in there.
Out of all the updates we've done, it's the one that hits something for every one of our players. Right? Like, there's awesome new PvE activities, there's awesome new PvP activities, there's an awesome new gear game for you to go after. It's something for everyone.
There's little bits and pieces of each, like, I cannot wait. Like that is ridiculous, you know, right? Oh, you know, just what do I do? D-Tech? Yeah, baby. Like, and just, wow. Free. No, I love that. Oh, and dude, Rick Vlammenzee? Dude, I just, so much stuff. We called update 1.7 and update 1.8. It was the summer jam. That's what we call it internally. And it has been so much fun jamming with you guys over the summer.
Dude.
Thank you very much for your incredible passion and how connected you guys have been and how much support you've given us and all the feedback. And you've really helped us shape this summer. Thanks for jamming. Yes.
There's a certain little aspect of the underground. There's questions that's been coming up over and over, and maybe we'll have a little update on what's happening with classifieds in the underground.
That's classified. See what I did there? That was horrible. That was terrible. Specifically, you're asking about classified gear dropping in the underground?
Yes.
Yeah, it's in there. I'm going to be doing some grinding in the underground for sure. The new exotics like Big Alejandro in the house, you can get those out of underground.
Dude, Big Alejandro. Big Alejandro. That's for me.
But thank you very much, guys, for coming.
Thank you. Cool. We'll probably come very rudely, you know, for no apparent reason at all.
There's room for all three of us in this couch, right?
Beautiful.
But thank you very much, guys, for coming. Talk soon. Is that mine? That's mine. No, it's right here.
There it is. That's mine. No, sorry. Found it. Hi, everyone. No,
Oh,
Yeah? That's all right. This is cozy.
maybe
This
you're
is nice.
pale.
This isn't like marketing speak. I'm actually...
Like the big news today, we talked a lot about stuff. Thank you very much again, guys, and I will see you soon. Take care.
And there was me thinking all the time that it was my job to make childish and tasteless cum jokes. Terry, Keith, Petter, you have fucking outdone yourselves by making a string of cum jokes on state of the game that were so fucking creepy that they even made me feel uncomfortable. And that's me feeling uncomfortable. Let that fucking sink in. And whilst we're touching on the subject of cum, why is Keith banging on about kinky shields? And what in fuck's name is a shield fantasy? I'm sorry, but it just conjures up an image of someone leaping around their bedroom with a shield, a strap-on dildo and a skin-tight latex bodysuit. I tried googling it in the hope of finding some kind of filthy, deviant pictures to add to my personal collection, but it appears that Keith has finally managed to find an exception to Rule 36 of the internet. All I found was Dungeons and Dragons images. Perhaps this says far more about Keith than I initially realised. The general consensus is that Nomad basically makes you immortal. I don't think that requires any further fucking explanation. Get lucky and it's like having a virtually endless supply of recovery links. Predator's Mark is reporting 230k plus tick damage, and that is before the time to kill modifiers are introduced in PvP. That's like paddling a little rubber dinghy in the Atlantic Ocean and then suddenly being simultaneously ambushed by 10 Japanese fucking whaling ships and taking 10 cunting harpoons to the chest. Predator's Mark allegedly can be really powerful in certain situations. You don't fucking say. The certain situations they're referring to are playing the Division. Keith Zorg made the comment that Classified Nomad and Predator's Mark bring a very specific utility to players, and I agree with him 100%. Predator's specific utility is killing fucking everyone else. Nomad's specific utility is everyone else not being able to fucking kill you. Terry Spears' cryptic tweet set a lot of alarm bells ringing. The general narrative remains the same. They are grateful for the feedback and they are listening. But many of us read that tweet as, yeah, we realise everyone on social media fucking hates Rogue 2.0, but fucking YOLO, we're going to ignore the lot of you and do it anyway. Which is precisely what is fucking happening. So yeah, that's pretty much the theme of patch 1.8. Totally ignoring feedback, totally ignoring their own fucking observations, total absence of the community team for 2 weeks, rolling out the patch without changes since at least PTS 2, no fucking patch notes for PTS 3, console players getting a dick in the arse as usual, and the community literally having to data mine information about what the patch 1.8 patch notes will be. I could chalk this all down to cataclysmic bad timing, but not when you include the fact that we're not getting detailed patch notes of 1.8 prior to release. That's fucking suspicious. Oh, and defense is getting raped again and will be worthless in PvP. I'm hearing stories of the shield being burnt down in 3 seconds. Good luck with that. You might as well be carrying a fucking dustbin lid. Look, I'm aware of the fact that I have been guilty on the odd rare occasion of moaning a little bit about the problems in the Division. But fucking holy fuckballs, I've been bombarded by so much info on shit going wrong for 1.8 that I seriously could not discuss it all. The TLDR is balancing is shot to fuck, it's full of bugs, the stacking exploits are still here even though they don't show correctly in the UI, the servers are still fucked, many PvPers fucking hate Rogue 2.0, and a whole long list of bugs supplied to me by 4 other people was so fucking long I couldn't even fucking list it. I mean that literally. At one point I was thinking of running the list of problems up the screen like fucking credits at the end of a movie, but fuck it, you didn't come here to read. It's a bit pathetic when the Reddit community are compiling the patch notes for 1.8. They literally are the closest we've come to getting fucking PTS 3 information. It's also frankly fucking disappointing that the community is already working out the DPS combos of skills, perks, talents, weapons that fucking Ubisoft haven't even come to noticed because they're too busy making cum jokes on State of the Game and pre-recording State of the Games for future release. Yeah, I said it.
Yeah, I said it.
I would also note many of us were jizzing our knickers over the prospect of plus damage being replaced with percentage-based damage bonuses because slow-firing weapons would become viable. This appears not to be working as intended. According to the guys on the subreddit, data mining the burst damage numbers, the meta is pretty much the same. M4s and MDRs are still king, and weapons that I would love to use, like the AK and the UMP, are still a bag of stale rat's piss, and perhaps even more fucky and useless than before. The major change is that the house, the new exotic SMG, is fucking godlike and wipes out every other SMG in the game. Looking forward to the potential of Year 3, or more likely, the Division 2, I personally think Redstorm, and whoever else works on the weapon talents and gear, need to do a little bit more homework to keep a sense of genre, perspective, and common cunting sense in the game. This is guns according to reality. This is the magazine that holds the bullets. This is the receiver, the part that makes it go. This is the barrel that the bullets travel down. This is the stock, which you pull into your shoulder, unless you're in a 1980s cop movie. This is guns according to Massive and Redstorm. This is the magazine that holds fairy dust, glitter and ground up horns of unicorns. This is the magical mixing cauldron, where the magic happens. This is the magic wand that channels the fairy magic. And this is a piece of wood from the first tree, which amplifies the magic. Perhaps it's time to send these fucking clowns down to the fucking shooting range for a few afternoons per week. Perhaps then, they will learn to differentiate between firearms and fucking goblins. As a side note, I have also been trying to figure out the point behind blocking healing while shooting. What the fuck is that about? I mentioned this before, asked questions and not got answers. Setting up blocks to skills in a laggy as fuck game is just another opportunity for your game to lag lock. If healing is OP, there are other ways to deal with it. I certainly can't figure out a good reason for doing it this way. I guess it's time to do some Rogue 2.0 theory crafting, but before we start nibbling on the human shinbone of the Division, I guess it's important that I qualify a few points. I saw someone on Twitter say something along the lines of, I can't take anyone seriously who is talking about the Dark Zone if they only have 9 rogue kills. I totally fucking agree with that sentiment. Sadly, I think I only have about 8, but fuck it. Being wrong has never made me shut the fuck up in the past, and today is not going to be that day. I want to talk about Rogue 2.0, despite being a PvE guy, horribly bad at PvP and knowing very little about the subject other than reading feedback in the public domain. My personal opinion probably differs from everyone because I think friendly fire should be on all the time in all games with weapons and guns. It's a very personal preference, but I've also found it fucking ridiculous when teammates block a fucking anti-tank round with the back of their boonie hat, or an NPC stops a sniper's bullet with his fucking scrotum, and neither of them have so much as a fucking scratch. I also do not know of any PvP game that was improved by turning friendly fire off. Fuck, you want a crazy suggestion? Turn friendly fire on all the fucking time in the whole of the game. That would soon make people spread the fuck out and end the fucking chicken dance. You ain't gonna see 15 players chicken dancing in a tiny little circle if one fucking random grenade and an airburst could wipe them all out in one go. But I'm getting off topic, so let's get back to Rogue 2.0. Strangely, the fact that I'm a PvE player might actually help validate my point. If I was a PvPer criticising Rogue 2.0, people could accuse me, rightly, of being butthurt. But I don't really go to the DZ, so I have no vested interest here. Rogue 2.0 changes are something I avoid talking about. I go into the DZ for my weekly, sometimes, armed only with my running away skills, the vain hope players I meet might be nice, the assumption everyone is going to try and fucking kill me regardless of my faith in humanity, and a towel on my chair in case I shit my pants. So what is Rogue 2.0? Decide to go rogue. Make an application. Everyone gets an alarm. You get to go rogue. Blanket bombing. PvPers quit the division. PvE players cackle with delight. Or people could just learn to fucking aim and not accidentally shoot friendlies in the first place. And maybe some people need to accept the fact that they'll get ganked in the DZ from time to time. But anyway, the basic situation seems to be that the DZ isn't perfect. Rogue 2 is the proposed solution. It's not going to fucking work, and the PvE community thinks it's fucking hilarious that all the PvPers that have ganked them silly for all these months are upset. Revenge at last. In fact, the whole situation of Rogue 2.0 reminds me of an old joke from Estonia. It's not funny, but it makes this point perfectly. A poor Estonian farmer had a single cow to sustain his family. During a severe thunderstorm, lightning struck and killed that cow. The poor man was absolutely distraught. He was on his knees, wailing and moaning in the rain and calling for God's justice. God felt so sorry for the man that he appeared to him, apologised for the friendly fire and asked what he could do to make amends. The farmer thought about the offer and replied, "Kill my neighbour's cow as well." The main selling point of Rogue 2.0 is that lots of PvE players fucking love the fact that it's pissing off PvPers. I'm not convinced that's a good enough reason to do it. As a PvE player, I don't like my toys being broken for PvP, and we shouldn't take pleasure when it's the other way around. Add to this, the pleasure will be short-lived. It's changing PvP to suit PvEers, but it will require PvE AoE mechanics to get totally fucked to make it work. I'm pretty sure that's going to fuck everyone. I think they're going to force Rogue 2 out and then fix it later by fucking nerfing every AoE ability, so players can't exploit the friendly fire mechanics and blanket bomb rogue groups. Basically, if everyone knows where the terminals are, they can be camped, and if friendly fire is turned off, people can blanket bomb rogues with AoE. Therefore, the fast lazy fix will be to nerf grenades and all AoE skills again, and thus make the game even more restrictive and boring. Everyone keeps justifying it by saying it's not perfect, but something's got to be done to the DZ. Some people are going to say, well, if you're so smart, you come up with a solution. Well, I don't know what the fucking solution to the DZ is, but Rogue 2 ain't fucking it. Just because I don't have the solution doesn't mean I can't spot a fucking disaster in the making. I don't know how to operate on a subdural hematoma either, but I'm perfectly capable of telling you to put the fucking hammer and chisel down, because that shit won't help. Wait till you have a good plan before acting. Doctors follow the Hippocratic Oath, and it goes something like this. Don't fucking operate if you're going to cause more harm than good. Don't fucking remove half of someone's brain to cure their headache. We could use some of that common sense around here right now. Perhaps there should be a Hippocratic Oath for game developers working on live games. Do no harm. The DZ is not really my thing. Give me a bit of Last Stand, sure, but the lawless, chaotic shithole that is the Dark Zone is not my bag. This does not mean I want it changed radically to suit me. This is an important philosophical fucking point that applies to a lot of video games. Just because I don't personally like something doesn't mean I should lobby to change it to suit me. This kind of thinking got nearly all electronic DPS builds fucking destroyed and half the weapons in the game nerfed. Just because you don't like the DZ doesn't mean it should be turned into a happy safe space. This game is big enough for everyone to find something to do that they enjoy, and that means having to accept that there will be things in the game that you don't personally like. Many fucking games have been diminished because the loudest single voice in the community shouted to get everything they don't like fucking destroyed. Let's not follow that fucking path. I personally can smell the foul taint of legacy here. This is someone's pet project or something, and it's being pushed through half finished and half fucked with complete disregard to the problems and the negative feedback. Rogue 2 is somebody's vanity project, and it's getting railroaded through. I suspect that in part this is because they want to sign off on the project to get it finished so they can move on to other things, and by things I mean other games that aren't The Division. My gut feeling about Red Storm rolling out Rogue 2, despite the outcry, is more hunch than science, but I'm going to say it anyway. I reckon the logic here is that they don't give a fuck what the PvP crowd think about Rogue 2.0 and how it will fuck the Dark Zone. I suspect their attitude is the PvP crowd are getting 4v4 skirmish mode so they can shut their fucking pie holes. The DZ is going to be made Care Bear and handed over to the PvE crowd. So I guess I see 4v4 skirmish mode as less of a gift to the hardcore PvP community and more of a part exchange. So, what are we going to rename the Dark Zone then? The safe space? Show me on the doll where the bad men shot you. Fuck! I'm a non-expert on PvP, but my non-expert opinion is this. The DZ has some problems. Rogue 2.0 is not the fucking solution. Drop Rogue 2.0 until you have a decent, fucking coherent plan, because Rogue 2.0 will cause more problems than it will solve and alienate a large selection of the most loyal players, frankly, at a time when we can't afford to lose them. As I said at the start, I have no fucking axe to grind here. I barely even go to the fucking DZ. I know a few people who do, and they're mostly very upset about Rogue 2.0. The people who seem happy about it mostly are PvE players who probably won't even ever fucking go there after Rogue 2.0 is introduced. I'm just telling it how I see it from reading a fuck ton of feedback from the community, so don't get sand in your fucking vagina if you don't agree with what I've said. I'm just describing what I have been observing. I should really also mention the Underground Revamp and Westside Pier. I don't have much to say about this, primarily because it's fairly unproblematic, solid content as long as it works. Most Underground fans I know are looking forward to the revamp. More loot and more incentives can do no harm. Similarly, the Westside Pier content gives PvE players some different stuff to do for grinding out kit. Let's just make sure the loot rewards are equal to or better than grinding the fuck out of Lexington. And then people won't even mind the fact that the nightclub smells of dead hooker and rotten fish. As for the incoming global event, well, the last two have been a big success and seen a surge in player numbers. I've had a fair bit of fun, got some shiny loot, and I'm a fan. There are a couple of fucking issues, however, that need to be fixed rather quickly. First off, the Phoenix credit cap has to go up to at least 10k. I would even suggest 20 or 30k be the new cap. Anyone grinding a global event for full sets of gear quickly reaches cap and is forced to spunk Phoenix credits on any old fucking crap. Then 1 week later, you find you have to recalibrate a couple of guns and suddenly you're fucking broke again, despite pissing thousands down the drain the week before during the GE. Increase the Phoenix credit cap a lot, for fuck's sake. My only other serious fucking reservation about GE, and something that might prove to be its undoing, is the fucking insane RNG. I have luckily been off work on both previous global events, so I got my full sets. But that statement says it all. If you can't do the GE like a full-time fucking job, it's probably not worth doing at all. Who the fuck wants to spend 30 hours grinding, only get half the set, then wait 3 to 4 months for a second chance. Sorry, get rid of the ridiculous RNG and let people focus on the specific loot they want. I'm not sure I can be fucking bothered with the next GE if I have to grind for a whole week to get a full set of each gear. With gear optimization coming in 1.8 and owning 3 Ninja Bite messenger bags and a whole stack of Skull's gloves, I frankly am not sure I can be fucked to spend another week of my life grinding 18 hours a day. The only justification for doing that would be that Nomad and Predator's classified sets are so fucking insanely overpowered, they're too good to miss. And when I realised this, I also realised that is probably why those gear sets are going to be so fucking overpowered. They are our incentive for taking part. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. We need to be able to target specific classified loot. We need set specific classified caches. Frankly, I'd be happy if people could just buy the fucking item they need for 500 to 1000 GE credits. The only RNG would be the stats on the item. People are getting fucked off with the amount of randomness as it stands. People are fucked off getting 11 Lone Star gloves and no cunting holster, or 9 Reclaimer chests and no bag. Put simply, I saw people just say, fuck this, and quit the global event. In fact, nearly everyone I know who realised they did not have enough time to guarantee getting all 6 pieces, immediately gave up, logged out, and went and played something else. You simply can't expect people to put 50 to 60 hours aside every global event once a month to grind all the gear sets, because they get so much random fucking crapola thrown at them by RNG. I reckon GE loot should be on sale all the time, and by set or item. Bosses should drop small amounts of GE tokens all year round, and you should be able to go to the fucking vendor and buy the item you want. Get the fucking randomness under control. It's fucking people off, just like the shit rewards from the weekly mission. The loot tables are too fucking big. I get it. The whole spirit of generosity philosophy, I think it really works well. But fucking Christ, you have to get the fucking randomness and the loot tables within certain fucking parameters. Let's finish up with the general news in the division. Something I keep hearing community managers say that I find vaguely alarming is, I'm still working on the division. You see, this is the way the world ends. Not with a bang, but a whimper. The fact that the community managers need to say this is because we are increasingly seeing them vanish for weeks on end, because they're working on other stuff. I'm sure they might all officially be working on the division, but you can bet your fucking arse they're not spending 40 hours a week working on division business these days. Fuck, during the last 2 weeks of PTS 3, no motherfucker from the community team did any fucking work on the division at all. What's the point of having a PTS if nobody is around to monitor the feedback and no fucking changes are being implemented between testing and launch? Well, I'll tell you what the point was. Free alpha testing. We were fucking bug testers. And even then, a lot of those bugs aren't going to get fixed. I had my suspicions since Terry's tweet that this shit was going to be pushed out as is. The PTS was us doing the bug testing. The RPM glitch is still a thing. There's a skill haste glitch, cheaters are still running rife around the game and nobody fixed the servers. In fact, I'm getting reports you can exploit your gear set up to the point where you can kill another agent with 4 fucking rounds from an MP7. None of this shit is getting fixed. And there seems to be an awful lot of not giving a shit going on at the moment. There is also the disturbing trend of people quietly drifting away from the division to other games. Rage quitters, as a general rule, come back. If people only leave the game in the height of their anger, when they calm down they don't feel the same, so they come back. The scary thing is the number of people who are just calmly drifting off. There are some really poor decisions being made at the moment, and Honestly, I think they're largely due to certain parties no longer giving a shit about the Division. Not fixing strikers, defense nurse releasing Nomad and Predators while they're broken as fuck, Rogue 2, and not fucking caring about the feedback from the players. And all the time knowing that whatever gear you might decide to grind could just suddenly get nerfed in some mini patch in 3 weeks' time. This is all fucking old news. They keep going on about the player power fantasy. Well, fuck that. Here's what the fantasy feels like to me. Playing the Division is like being a shelf stacker in a supermarket. Only you've got an incredibly disorganised and fucking forgetful boss. You work your arse off to stack the shelves as fast as fucking possible, and as soon as you're back in the fucking storeroom, he tells you he either gave you the wrong fucking cans or just changed his mind. And the faster you work, the quicker you end up back in the storeroom being told to do it all over again, only differently. And we would all frankly be happier and less stressed if we just hid out the back of the store, sneaking a fucking reefer by the dustbins and avoiding checking in for the next task. That's the player power fantasy. Shelf stacker. Grind through relentless RNG to get gear that then either gets nerfed or made irrelevant by other game changes. Oh, and by the way, as a quick aside, Agents of the Division, I saw your comment in Twitch chat. He called it first in State of the Game, and I think he's onto something. I think they have started sneaking pre-recorded State of the Games in and not telling us. I think we should be scrutinising State of the Game from now on to see if we can spot that going on. Well, let's wrap this shit up in brown paper and post it through the elderly lady's letterbox. The way PTS3 was fucking thrown under the bus in the final stages is a fucking tragedy. Patch 1.8 is so full of fucking promise and has tons of great content. But many people are worried that it's going to be fucked out of the door, half broken and half finished, so that Ubisoft can crack on with other projects and invest more resources into refining its microtransactional arsefuckery. This is certainly the signals a lot of us have been receiving from the community team. That is, when they have actually been around to send any fucking signals at all. People often comment to me that they feel that patch 1.8 is the Division going on life support. That this is the last work being done on the game before we are all set adrift. And the funny thing is, when people talk to me about the Division, I keep getting reminded of the last episode of Stargate Universe Season 2. They have to make a long journey between galaxies that's going to take so long the entire crew goes into stasis pods. They all climb in, expecting to wake up years later in the neighbouring galaxy. The show got cancelled. There was no Season 3. And they never got woken up. For all my griping, I love this game. And I hope we have a future. I sincerely hope we are not being fucked off to the stasis pods, and that's going to be the end of our story. Time will tell. Well, let's end this state of the game on a happier note. Cancer. Or more precisely, Uber Timmehs' Movember charity stream, raising money for the fight against cancer. He has a whole schedule of streamers who will be live from November 18th through to the 20th. Do whatever you can to support the event. Donate if you have some spare cash, but even if you don't, you can still help out. Watch the stream, spread the word on social media, or just encourage your gaming buddies to tune in. As far as I'm concerned, supporting cancer charities is a no fucking brainer. Sooner or later, cancer affects all of our lives, directly or indirectly. So do what you can to help him out, and put the 18th of November in your diary. Honestly, don't miss the fucking streams. It's a cracking lineup, and catch as many as you can. Anyway, if you enjoyed listening to this fucking tirade, you've demonstrated you have incredibly poor taste, so make sure to subscribe and click on the notification bell down below. I've recently discovered that thanks to YouTube's current war on gaming channels, unless you explicitly turn on notifications for a channel, there's no guarantee you will get notified when I post a fucking video. You can't rely on subscribing anymore. as their clever algorithms would prefer to direct my viewers towards cunting kitten videos and makeup channels. Fuck that. But for now, good luck and happy hunting.
Thank you.